Have you ever wondered why being the nice guy rarely gets you the results you truly want? You're friendly, respectful, always there when she needs you. And yet, somehow, you always end up sidelined, overlooked, watching someone else get exactly what you desire most. Maybe you've asked yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why does the nice guy always finish last? Today, you're about to discover the uncomfortable truths hidden beneath your kindness. Truths backed by decades of psychological research, proven theories and strategies used by masters of seduction and persuasion. I'll expose precisely why the nice guy inevitably loses, and more importantly, show you how to leverage the darker, deeper aspects of human psychology ethically, strategically, and powerfully to finally get the results you deserve. But before we start, understand one thing clearly. This isn't about becoming a manipulative villain. This is about awakening to the hidden psychological dynamics that dominate every interaction you have. The principles you're about to learn come directly from proven methodologies and the work of renowned experts like Robert Greene, Neil Strauss, David D'Angelo, and countless researchers in the field of social dynamics and psychology. Pay close attention, because your life is about to change dramatically. The nice guy phenomenon is not an accident. It's deeply rooted in your psychology and social conditioning. According to Dr. Robert Glover, author of the groundbreaking book No More Mr. Nice Guy, the nice guy persona is actually a coping mechanism, a mask used by men who subconsciously believe that by pleasing others, they'll be rewarded with approval, affection, or love. But here's the critical flaw in that strategy. Niceness, when used as currency to buy affection, loses its power entirely. Women, and people in general, instinctively sense when kindness isn't genuine but a hidden attempt to earn approval. It's subtle but crucial. When you excessively accommodate, agree, or submit to someone else's desires at the cost of your own identity, it communicates weakness, insecurity, and ultimately desperation. This subtle energy repels attraction rather than generating it. Attraction thrives in tension, mystery, power, confidence, qualities often absent in the stereotypical nice guy. Now, let's dive deeper. According to evolutionary psychology, women are biologically wired to seek certain core attributes: strength, social status, confidence, assertiveness, and competence. Attributes associated historically with survival and protection. The nice guy, though polite and friendly, often unintentionally communicates a lack of these core traits. When you're overly accommodating, overly agreeable, or afraid to assert boundaries, you unintentionally signal lower social status, a lack of confidence, and diminished power. Whether consciously or unconsciously, women instinctively feel that they can't rely on you when things become challenging. They can't see you as someone who will lead, dominate, or protect. And at the primal level of attraction, deep within their unconscious mind, this is precisely why the nice guy loses. Renowned psychologist and author Jordan Peterson frequently emphasizes the power dynamic inherent in human relationships. Peterson notes that dominance hierarchies have always influenced attraction. Women gravitate toward men who display not just dominance, but a willingness to engage in confrontation, assertiveness, and even calculated risk-taking. When you're overly agreeable, when you avoid confrontation, when you never push back or stand your ground, you unintentionally place yourself at the lowest rung of the dominance hierarchy. You become invisible in the eyes of attraction. But there's good news. Awareness of these dynamics is your first step toward massive change. When you recognize and admit that your niceness has been masking insecurity, something profound happens psychologically. You reclaim the power to redefine yourself. Here's where dark psychology comes into play, an immensely powerful but misunderstood tool. The term dark psychology was popularized by Dr. Michael Nuccitelli, referring to techniques rooted in understanding and leveraging human desires, fears, vulnerabilities, and subconscious patterns of behavior to achieve a desired outcome. This isn't about manipulation or unethical exploitation. It's about profound psychological awareness and influence. Robert Greene, in his best-selling book The Art of Seduction, makes it abundantly clear that successful seduction is rooted in understanding human psychology deeply and strategically utilizing it. Greene emphasizes that attraction and desire exist with intention, uncertainty, and carefully crafted emotional experiences. When applied ethically, These principles will drastically amplify your attractiveness. So let's examine practical, powerful methods you can apply immediately. First, the principle of scarcity, one of Dr. Robert Cialdini's 6 pillars of persuasion, deeply rooted in dark psychology. Human beings crave what is scarce, elusive, or challenging to obtain. When you're overly available, always there, always responding immediately, you reduce your perceived value. You must instead create controlled scarcity. Don't always be the first to text. Occasionally leave messages unanswered a bit longer. Cultivate a subtle aura of mystery. When you're not immediately accessible, your value increases dramatically. People desire most intensely what feels just beyond their grasp. Second, you must master emotional polarity. David D'Angelo, one of the most influential dating coaches of the last 2 decades, repeatedly emphasizes that attraction is driven by emotional tension, not comfort. Nice guys typically pursue comfort, mistakenly believing it leads to attraction. It doesn't, it kills attraction. Instead, you must strategically introduce polarity, challenge, teasing, assertiveness, and unpredictability. This triggers emotional investment as the brain seeks resolution. Human psychology craves equilibrium. By creating slight imbalance through playful teasing or occasional disagreement, you spark curiosity, emotional investment, and ultimately deep attraction. For example, rather than always agreeing with her opinion to maintain harmony, challenge her ideas playfully. If she mentions a movie she loves, confidently assert why another is superior, even if only humorously. This displays strength, independence, and emotional maturity, qualities women deeply respect. Third, leverage the principle of social proof. Another powerful pillar of persuasion from Dr. Cialdini's research. Human beings instinctively trust what others value. If you're always perceived as isolated, overly accommodating, or desperate for attention, your social value plummets. But if you're surrounded by others, especially women, who value your presence, your desirability skyrockets. You must be seen as valuable to others to be valuable to her. Engage socially, demonstrate leadership in social interactions, and let her observe that others respect and seek your company. Fourth, master the art of subtle dominance. Dominance doesn't mean aggression or bullying. Dominance in attraction psychology is about decisive action, assertive communication, clear boundaries, and unwavering self-confidence. Never hesitate when asked your opinion. Make decisive decisions on simple things like where to go for dinner, what to watch, or plans for the weekend. This subtle dominance communicates powerfully that you can lead, protect, and provide stability, deeply attractive traits biologically wired into the female mind. Now, I understand, some of this may sound uncomfortable, challenging your deeply ingrained conditioning. But remember this clearly: seduction and attraction have never been comfortable. Growth rarely is. Comfort is precisely why the nice guy fails repeatedly. He remains comfortable, safe, predictable, and invisible. Neil Strauss, in The Game, famously revealed that attraction is more science than art. You don't have to reinvent yourself entirely, but you must strategically apply what science reveals about attraction. Dark psychology, when ethically employed, provides a massive advantage over those unaware or unwilling to acknowledge these powerful dynamics. Pause here and consider this carefully. Up until now, your niceness, your unwillingness to leverage the deeper truths of attraction, has been sabotaging your success, keeping you trapped in the friend zone. But from this point forward, everything can change. Right now, you have the opportunity to leverage powerful, proven principles from psychology, biology, and social dynamics to transform entirely from the nice guy who always loses to the man who effortlessly draws women toward him, like a magnet, irresistible and deeply attractive. Let's go even deeper, because what you've learned so far is only the beginning. Next, we'll explore precisely how to implement advanced psychological triggers, techniques meticulously studied, tested, and proven to ignite deep attraction and powerful desire in nearly anyone you choose. Listen carefully and commit these insights to memory, because after today, the nice guy who loses becomes a distant memory. Let's now go even further into the realm of advanced psychological techniques that elite persuaders and seducers master. Concepts so powerful that when fully internalized, you'll naturally move beyond the nice guy persona that's been limiting your results for years. You're about to learn principles grounded in dark psychology that directly influence subconscious attraction, deeply embedding your presence into the minds and hearts of those you encounter. First, understand the profound concept of the shadow self, initially introduced by Carl Jung. This represents the hidden, darker, more primal part of each person's personality, qualities they suppress due to societal expectations. Paradoxically, attraction often thrives when you subtly appeal to this hidden self in others. How exactly do you do this? By strategically projecting an edge, something slightly taboo, rebellious, or mysterious, you stimulate curiosity and intrigue in the subconscious. Women are particularly drawn to men who awaken parts of their psyche they're hesitant to openly express. When you confidently and subtly embrace attributes such as independence, mystery, emotional depth, and even a slight hint of rebelliousness, you indirectly communicate your acceptance of your own shadow self. As Jung himself argued, integrating your shadow rather than denying it creates deep psychological magnetism. It signals strength, confidence, and authenticity, traits inherently irresistible. This isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. Rather, it's about uncovering and integrating parts of your true self that you've hidden behind layers of social conditioning. When women sense authenticity, especially authenticity that defies conventional standards, it creates a powerful psychological pull that mere politeness or agreeableness can never replicate. Another powerful psychological concept you must master is what psychologists call the Benjamin Franklin effect, brilliantly explored by Dale Carnegie in How to Win Friends and Influence People. This counterintuitive phenomenon occurs when asking someone for a favor makes them subconsciously like you more. It sounds paradoxical, but the psychology behind it is simple. The brain rationalizes that if someone has done you a favor, they must find you valuable or worthy, deepening their investment and attraction. Here's how you utilize this. Instead of always giving or always accommodating, strategically request small favors from someone you're attracted to. It could be something simple, asking her opinion on a gift for your sister or recommending a restaurant. This subtle shift in dynamic positions you as someone who values her judgment, but more importantly, triggers psychological investment on her part. As she invests effort or time into helping you, attraction and affection follow naturally. Next, let's examine the profound impact of emotional anchoring, a powerful technique popularized in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and widely employed by influential psychologists and seduction experts such as Ross Jeffries. Emotional anchoring is the act of associating your presence, voice, or even a specific gesture with a highly positive emotional state in the other person. For instance, imagine you share a brief yet intense moment of laughter or joy during conversation. Immediately after that moment, subtly use a specific touch, perhaps briefly touching her arm or shoulder, or even a distinctive tone of voice or phrase. This gesture now serves as an anchor, subconsciously linking the emotional high directly to you. Later, simply repeating the gesture or phrase reactivates the anchored positive feeling. This technique, scientifically validated through repeated studies in psychology, creates a powerful subconscious attraction that mere niceness could never achieve. Additionally, consider mastering what Robert Greene calls strategic absence in the art of seduction. Greene reveals that desire intensifies in absence. When someone feels they fully possess your attention or affection, desire diminishes, often leading to complacency or boredom. Strategic absence involves periodically withdrawing your attention, not in an erratic or insecure way, but as a confident, intentional maneuver. When you occasionally become less available, withdraw slightly, or leave something subtly unfinished, an intriguing conversation, an unanswered question, or a mystery about yourself, you spark psychological tension. Her mind begins subconsciously filling your absence with fantasies, curiosity, and longing, effectively increasing your perceived value and desirability exponentially. Now let's discuss the profound importance of framing and storytelling in your interactions, brilliantly analyzed by psychologist Dr. Milton Erickson, whose insights revolutionized modern hypnosis and persuasion. Erickson argued that the subconscious mind is deeply influenced through indirect suggestion, primarily through stories, metaphors, and powerful frames. In every interaction, your primary objective is to subtly control the frame, meaning the underlying perception of who has social dominance or higher value. The nice guy mistakenly lets others define this frame, surrendering his power. Instead, you must deliberately set and maintain frames of power, value, and desirability. For example, instead of explaining yourself defensively when challenged or questioned, respond playfully or ambiguously. If she jokingly asks if you always talk to many women, a confident yet mysterious response like, "Only the ones interesting enough to capture my attention," subtly reframes the conversation, elevating your status and value. This psychologically positions you as a prize, someone worth pursuing and competing for. Equally powerful is the technique of assumed attraction, advocated by dating and seduction experts such as Mystery, Eric von Markovic. Assumed attraction involves behaving from the outset as if attraction between you and the other person is an inevitable and mutually accepted reality. This doesn't mean arrogance, rather, it implies calm, confident, and slightly playful interactions. By subtly acting as if attraction already exists, you create a subconscious expectation, causing the other person's mind to catch up to that reality. Psychologically, humans naturally follow strong frames. If you project attraction and confidence naturally and genuinely, she'll instinctively follow your lead. Let's further explore the powerful role of nonverbal dominance in body language. Researchers Alan and Barbara Pease, in their best-selling work, The Definitive Book of Body Language, demonstrate conclusively that attraction and influence are overwhelmingly governed by nonverbal signals. Simple gestures, maintaining sustained eye contact without flinching, using expansive body language, and speaking slowly and deliberately, powerfully communicate confidence and dominance. Such behaviors directly influence attraction at the subconscious level, amplifying your attractiveness beyond superficial niceness or politeness. Finally, embrace the transformative psychology behind setting firm personal boundaries, something clearly articulated by Dr. Jordan Peterson and repeatedly affirmed by experts like Dr. Robert Glover. Ironically, setting clear boundaries, knowing and confidently stating what you will or won't tolerate, dramatically increases attraction and respect. Boundaries communicate strength, self-respect, and high self-worth. When women encounter men with well-defined boundaries, they subconsciously perceive them as leaders, protectors, and inherently valuable, attributes biologically linked to desirability. This means actively saying no, respectfully but firmly, when someone crosses your boundaries or tries to manipulate you into accommodating their demands excessively. The moment you demonstrate this firmness, you instantly elevate your perceived value and attractiveness. By now, you're seeing clearly that transcending the nice guy persona isn't about becoming harsh, manipulative, or fake. Instead, it's about embracing proven psychological insights deeply rooted in decades of human behavioral research. This knowledge grants you power. Power not just to attract or seduce, but to profoundly understand and influence human relationships and interactions. The techniques and concepts you're mastering today represent a form of psychological power that very few fully grasp. From understanding the hidden shadow self and using strategic absences, emotional anchoring, and powerful framing techniques, you are entering a new realm of mastery, one reserved for those courageous enough to move beyond surface-level kindness and politeness into genuine psychological understanding. As you continue this transformation, remember clearly, the goal is never manipulation, deception, or exploitation. Instead, it's an empowered life, authentic, aware, and deeply attractive. You're no longer settling for mediocrity or being overlooked. You've moved beyond the passive, disempowered state of the nice guy who always loses. But your transformation isn't finished yet. There's still more power to uncover and wield ethically in your relationships, conversations, and interactions. Now, let's venture even deeper, uncovering another crucial layer: the subtle psychology behind conversational mastery, an area brilliantly explored by social psychologists and renowned seduction experts like Mark Manson, Zan Perrion, and Chase Amante. To fully shed the nice guy persona, you must master the art of strategic authenticity. Mark Manson argues that true attraction arises not merely from surface-level banter or superficial tactics, but from genuine vulnerability balanced with self-assuredness. But here's the nuance. Vulnerability without confidence communicates weakness. Vulnerability combined with quiet confidence communicates profound strength. For instance, rather than hiding your imperfections or anxiously covering flaws, confidently acknowledge and embrace them. If someone points out something you previously viewed as a weakness, like your unusual sense of humor or quirky interests, respond playfully and proudly. This communicates genuine self-acceptance and deep inner strength, signaling you're unconcerned with external validation. Women instinctively respect and are attracted to men whose self-worth doesn't depend on their opinion. It's a powerful psychological reversal. The moment you genuinely stop needing approval, you naturally become immensely attractive. Zan Perian, in The Alabaster Girl, emphasizes the extraordinary power of genuine curiosity and deep appreciation in conversations. Unlike superficial flattery, which women instinctively distrust, genuine appreciation requires noticing unique details most men overlook. When you speak, make it a habit to highlight genuinely unique aspects of her personality or choices, rather than generic compliments. For example, instead of the overly used, "you're so beautiful," mention something deeply personal. The way your eyes light up when you talk about your dreams is captivating. This form of appreciation resonates deeply because it signals true observation and emotional maturity, traits highly attractive to women. Additionally, embrace the psychological strategy known as push-pull, a concept expertly utilized by many top seduction coaches. Push-pull creates emotional turbulence, alternating subtle interest with casual disinterest, activating her brain's innate reward-seeking mechanisms. It's not manipulative, it's emotionally engaging. For instance, offer a compliment, followed by a playful tease or subtle challenge. "I love your intelligence, but you might be trouble." Her mind subconsciously desires to prove herself or to earn your approval, creating powerful emotional engagement. Next, understand the immense psychological power of indirect communication, what psychologists often call covert suggestion. As Dr. Milton Erickson demonstrated, indirect communication bypasses the logical mind and directly influences the subconscious. Rather than openly declaring interest, subtly imply attraction through carefully selected language and metaphors. For example, instead of directly saying, "I really like you," subtly communicate interest indirectly. "There's something different about our conversations. I can't quite figure it out yet." Such language stimulates curiosity, imagination, and subconscious attraction far more powerfully than direct compliments, which women often dismiss due to social conditioning. Moreover, consider mastering the art of cold reading, an advanced psychological skill popularized by persuasion expert Ian Rowland. Cold reading involves accurately articulating someone's hidden feelings, thoughts, or emotions based on subtle cues, language, or body language. For example, you might gently say, "You seem confident, but I sense you're more sensitive underneath than you let others see." Even if you're only partially correct, the psychological impact is profound. She instantly feels understood on a deep emotional level. This subtle perception significantly elevates your attractiveness and emotional value in her eyes. Expanding this further, it's crucial to master conversational pattern interrupts, a powerful NLP technique developed by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. Pattern interrupts involve deliberately disrupting conversational patterns to grab immediate attention, reset the interaction, or escalate attraction. For instance, if the conversation becomes predictable or overly polite, suddenly ask a deeply personal or thought-provoking question, such as, "When was the last time you truly felt alive?" Or, "If fear weren't a factor, what's one thing you'd do right now?" This unexpected shift breaks monotony and establishes you as exciting, unpredictable, and emotionally stimulating. Let's now explore a concept deeply examined by behavioral economist Dan Ariely: psychological anchoring and comparative valuation. Human beings subconsciously evaluate people and experiences based on reference points. To strategically utilize anchoring, subtly position yourself as distinctive from other men. Rather than mimicking typical behavior, deliberately highlight differences in your style, interests, or conversational depth. Mention briefly how you differ from typical expectations, creating a strong psychological anchor that sets you apart. When someone mentally compares you with others, your uniqueness subconsciously elevates your perceived value. Further amplifying your attraction is the powerful psychological concept of strategic unpredictability, deeply analyzed by behavioral psychologists and neuroscientists. Studies consistently confirm that unpredictability activates dopamine release in the brain, directly influencing attraction and attachment. While nice guys are predictable, accommodating, and repetitive, creating boredom, strategically unpredictable men remain endlessly fascinating. Occasionally surprise her, alter routines, or behave contrary to her expectations. The uncertainty triggers deep emotional investment and curiosity, keeping her psychologically engaged. Additionally, understand the transformative power behind the psychological principle known as future pacing, a powerful technique from NLP extensively analyzed by Richard Bandler. Future pacing involves subtly directing the other person's imagination to envision future experiences together. Rather than passively reacting to situations, actively suggest hypothetical future events. For example, you might casually remark, "Next weekend, there's a place I know you'd absolutely love. It's unlike anything you've experienced." This language subconsciously plants visions of shared experiences, subtly embedding you into her future plans and thoughts. Lastly, you must deeply understand the psychological phenomenon called loss aversion, extensively studied by psychologist Daniel Kahneman. People instinctively fear losing something valuable far more intensely than they appreciate gaining something new. To leverage loss aversion ethically, subtly communicate your value as rare, limited, or fleeting. Rather than always reassuring someone of your constant presence or unconditional approval, occasionally indicate your attention or availability might diminish if not reciprocated or respected. This subtly triggers an intense desire to avoid losing something genuinely valuable, you. Notice clearly, none of these advanced techniques require sacrificing ethics, authenticity, or genuine respect. On the contrary, you're developing an intricate psychological skill set grounded deeply in human behavior and validated by psychological research. The man you are becoming now operates on an entirely different plane of attraction, one rooted in emotional depth, strategic awareness, and confident authenticity. You're transcending superficial politeness or empty niceness, becoming psychologically compelling, genuinely attractive, and effortlessly influential. As we approach the final phase, we'll integrate all these principles into a cohesive, powerful persona, a man who naturally, confidently, and ethically utilizes dark psychology, emotional intelligence, and conversational mastery to effortlessly attract and deeply influence those around him. As we now enter this final transformative stage, let's integrate everything you've discovered into a persona of genuine power and psychological magnetism. You're no longer the predictable nice guy. You've become a man who effortlessly combines strategic authenticity, emotional intelligence, subtle dominance, and psychological mastery. You now clearly understand how attraction operates beneath the surface, driven by subconscious impulses that few truly recognize, let alone master. Imagine your life from this moment forward. Interactions become seamless. Attraction and intrigue follow you effortlessly. Instead of feeling overlooked or frustrated, you'll find others naturally drawn toward your presence, craving your attention and valuing your company deeply. Not because you're pretending or manipulating, but because you've finally unlocked your genuine, authentic power and integrated psychological insights that make you inherently compelling. Every principle you've explored, embracing your shadow self, employing strategic scarcity, emotional anchoring, framing, future pacing, conversational mastery, and confidently asserting boundaries, are keys to deeper relationships, authentic connections, and the life you genuinely deserve. You are no longer bound by misguided politeness, excessive accommodation, or hidden insecurities. You now clearly know your worth and communicate it powerfully and confidently, making you deeply attractive. But remember, mastery demands consistent action, practice, and ongoing refinement. True transformation occurs when you apply these insights daily, boldly stepping into discomfort until they become second nature. With each interaction, you'll notice dramatic changes. Not just externally, but internally. You'll carry yourself differently, exuding confidence, purpose, and deep psychological understanding that effortlessly attracts others. Now, if you genuinely resonate with this powerful knowledge, if you can feel your life shifting in this very moment, then this is just the beginning. Imagine if thousands of other men could discover what you've just learned today. Imagine if, like you, they finally freed themselves from the trap of the nice guy persona, empowered themselves with authentic psychological tools, and began truly succeeding in their relationships and social lives. You have the power right now to amplify this impact. If this video opened your eyes and gave you profound insights, help me spread this knowledge. Like this video to signal to YouTube that more people need this powerful truth. Share this content with friends who, like you, deserve more from life and relationships. Comment below about which insight resonated most deeply with you, and subscribe now if you haven't already, because I have even more profound psychological knowledge coming that you won't want to miss. Together, we'll help thousands break free from limitations, achieve the relationships and attraction they truly desire, and transform into authentic, confident, psychologically powerful individuals. This is your moment. Let's make it count.